Oh, wait a minute. YouTube, there we go.
Unfortunately, I need to begin this with an announcement that I'm going to have to be limiting my stream times because my account still won't work with any OBS, and StreamYard has sent an email saying that they're limiting the free memberships to 20 hours per month. So if I'm
We
going to
knew that
continue
sort
to
of thing
stream
was
twice a
coming,
week,
right?
I've got to keep it down to around 2 hours for each stream.
Okay. Yeah, we knew that was coming.
Oh yeah, I predicted this from the beginning, just the
Oh,
wording on
yeah.
their webpage. I
Mm-hmm.
said as soon as they became popular and they worked out the bugs that they were going to start putting limits on it and raise the prices.
Anyway. Well, hey, this is the way it goes, you know? Okay.
Well, it is free, so you can't gripe too much.
Yeah.
20 hours a month is not that much, though. It's,
Hi,
Yeah.
Angie. Yeah, that's why I didn't get used to. That's why I didn't get used to StreamYard. That's why I didn't get used to any of the other stuff. I figured there were going to be conditions attached, and I already knew that Google Meet worked since we used to use it. Well, we still use it on movie night. Come to think of it, and that was only $6.
What is that, $6 a month?
Yeah, Google Meet. Yeah, well, the whole G Suite thing, with which you get Google Meet, $6 a month. I mean, I figured even I could do that.
Okay, but does that one run through an OBS?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I can't use it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forget it.
Yeah.
Calling me blonde.
No, it's a weird thing about my account that will never get fixed because I can never reach an actual human being at YouTube to ask what the problem was in the first place.
Yeah.
So all I get is form letters from bots, and that doesn't tell me what needs to be fixed.
I say kick it. Kicking things always helps.
There's been some paranoia from other smaller channels at the moment, thinking that everyone who's too small to be monetized is going to be immediately kicked off of YouTube. And it's like, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but I think it's basically that YouTube gets a complaint about anyone. They've now set themselves up that they can kick anyone off for no reason.
Yeah.
So if you're actually expecting a human to respond and you're not happy with the bots, it's easier for them to just get rid of you than to respond.
So maybe I should just work harder at making the Mormon church more angry at me so that when it happens, at least I deserved it.
I was actually thinking last night that I need to upset some trolls, because for the logarithm, downvotes are as good as upvotes for getting recommended, so...
I volunteer.
I keep hearing about these people who... Huh?
Sorry, I just said I volunteer. I'm an excellent troll.
Well, I keep hearing about these people, who upset some troll and then they, storm on and they give their channel a couple thousand downvotes, and it's like, hell. I guess hate views are probably quicker for growing a channel anyway.
I don't get hate views. Hi, Jen.
Quick, say something really controversial.
Well,
I can say something
the other upside
controversial.
of this is Paula Gia has said that anybody who gets called out by Ken Ham can get a place on his channel. So that's been one of my goals since I started.
Oh man, I need to find a reason to have Christy Abbey on my channel. Like, I just need to find a good discussion point. I had so much fun talking with her, so that's my goal, is to not find something that's like so off the wall that it's like, why did you invite me? But something that'll make her feel happy that she came by. Because
I haven't
I had
watched her. I
fun.
don't really know who she is.
She does not have a lot on her channel right now. She has, like, I think about 15-ish videos, but she does interviews and stuff, and I had fun.
I ran across a guy last night that I can keep up with. Apparently, he posted his first video 8 years ago, and he's posted a total of 5 videos since then.
Well, that's almost one a year.
So how you doing, Jen? You back home
I'm
and
all right. I'm
feeling
not gonna.
okay?
No, I'm not. I'm actually in the park, waiting for them to plow my street so I can go park on my street.
Ah,
It's a small town, and they get upset if they can't plow all the streets cleanly. So
yeah,
they
well,
prefer to
that's
have
around
cars out of
here.
the way.
There's no parking on the street between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m.
Oh, well, that would do it too. But then I would have nowhere to park.
Yeah, and we finally got hit last night. I'm not sure how much we actually got, but they were predicting about a foot overnight.
We only ended up getting about 3 inches or so. We ended up being right on the border of the rain snow mix, and
Yeah,
so
well,
it
and that's
didn't get us too bad.
It's pretty sloppy here. It came down to snow, but you know, I can see
So
that
I got some.
it's just
I got
the thick,
I
wet
got something
stuff.
to talk about.
Okay, what's going?
Well, now you guys, I presume have run into my new avatar that I'm using. That's based on what the doctors and stuff say I will look like after facial surgery. Yes, no, have you seen it?
Yeah,
Yep,
I've
it's
seen you using it.
pretty.
Since I put that up, I have been hit on at least a half a dozen times. And then remember, you're talking to a person who hasn't been hit on in over 40 years. So it's like, damn. It's
I am glad
shocking.
you're having fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I know it's not real, but it certainly is fun right now. Of course, I break their hearts right away and I tell them the truth. So then they stop bothering me. But it's wild. I've always had this thing about our society's prejudice against what society on any given decade, because it changes, views as attractive or not attractive, or ugly if you want to use that word, or however you want to discuss it. It's just so shallow for society to be that way, and how we're all programmed into it, and it just makes me mad. And it's not just America in this century. It's the whole world for all of human history has had that. They had that dynamic, and it's just kind of sad that we're that way as social beings.
I've always found it frustrating, and on top of that, not everybody, but enough people to do harm, seem to think that being ugly is, or what they think is ugly, is enough to justify them being shit to them.
Yes, exactly. I you know, whenever there's lots of people on Twitter, I tend to live on trans Twitter, of course, that they'll post pictures, selfies of themselves frequently because they enjoy doing that, and a lot of them are really very attractive people, and they get just comment after comment after comment and retweets and just, sometimes numbering in the thousands, overnight. I pinned a tweet, and it basically said, um, just something you should all remember is ugly girls need love too, maybe even more. And then I said somebody should actually make the comments we hear come true. And the comment is there's always somebody for everybody, and oh, it's what you look like on the inside that counts. Both of which are complete bullshit. Okay, so I pinned this tweet, and so far, last time I looked, it's been a while. It's gotten 1,800 views. It's gotten like 5 retweets and like 2 comments. And it's just interesting that, to me, that says we read this and we feel so guilty that it's true. We better not be caught commenting it or retweeting it or nothing, because it'll look bad on
Yeah.
me.
Well, and
It's just kind of
unfortunately,
interesting.
especially for trans people, there's that thing about judging who's passable.
Yeah, which is a whole nother political ball of wax. But yes, I agree with what you say there. Absolutely.
Sorry, I am here and conversating, but I'm also a little bit slow because I don't want to crunch into the mic. I hadn't eaten yet when Perp Ass 2 was coming in.
Yeah. I'm in the same state. I'm really just getting going here, so I'm trying to get in a mouthful here and there on the side.
I spent an extra couple of hours because my cat decided that it was snuggle time. And I tried to get up, and he put his claws on my neck and told me no. So I was like, okay, well, fine. I guess I'll stay here, even though technically I should be getting on to you because you're not supposed to put claws in me. But he was cute and fuzzy.
Yep.
And purring.
Yeah, I've got my keyboard balanced on Sammy's back here again.
My cat is hiding underneath the blankets. It's not cold outside, but for some reason it's a little bit chilly in my room. Yeah, y'all are making me glad I live in Florida where it doesn't snow. And when it does, it like hits the ground like rain.
Yeah.
I'm actually annoyed we don't get proper snow here, because the minute we have like a couple of centimeters, nobody knows what to fucking do, and everything grinds to a halt.
That's Jacksonville every time it rains.
Well, around here they should know what to do with it, and it's like, I heard the trucks beeping, so I thought they'd been out there, but it doesn't look like our street's gotten plowed. So I guess so far they've only gotten to the main roads.
My daughter was saying everybody knows what to do in the snow. Play in it.
Yeah,
It
I was just
won't,
kind of
like-
wishing it would have come one day later, because then I could have used it for an excuse of why I couldn't get to my aunt's for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I
So.
feel you, but I've just stopped giving excuses and saying, nope, I'm not coming.
Well, that was supposed to be our topic for today about, holiday traditions. Which ones do you like and which ones do you wish would just go away? And as far as I'm concerned, Thanksgiving is pointless. It's just a big pressure to have these big family gatherings that I would rather not be part of.
I like it, but then again, my situation is a little bit different. Generally speaking, for Thanksgiving, it's just me, Hufflepuff, and Dad.
Yeah. Well, and I
And
acknowledge for most people it's probably a really nice thing, especially
I
seeing
didn't
relatives who
know.
don't live nearby.
I've been seeing stuff make the rounds on Twitter like I would rather not deal with my family because holy shit, they're terrible people.
Well, and I've heard a lot more of that in the last couple of years that, since Trump's been out and people have not been discreet about things they used to be embarrassed about, that a lot of people are realizing that half of their family are nutcases or shit.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's brought a lot more of that to the surface.
That's why a lot of people have started creating their own Thanksgivings without their family.
Yeah, I had done that many years ago. We used to do Thanksgivings just as, a group of people who didn't have anywhere else that they wanted to go to. Either they didn't have family or they just didn't get along with their family. Or about hick for me.
Yeah. My mom used to, Thanksgiving was not necessarily a family holiday for her. My mom used to invite one or two, because we live in a military city. When I was growing up, there were three bases, here, and our church boundaries had a lot of guys who were in the military, and my mom would pick two or three of them to come over to the house and have Thanksgiving. And I think that's kind of why I enjoy Thanksgiving a lot more than Christmas, is a lot of the family drama didn't occur because my mom was trying to make sure that people didn't feel lonely and stuff like that. And it was more of an extended to other people thing. And so she was usually much nicer on Thanksgiving.
Well, and that's
than
a
she was on
tradition I can
Christmas.
support. Especially the servicemen who might want to be with their families but can't get home.
Yeah, I've heard it called Friendsgiving. Some people call it that, some people don't. It kind of depends. I struggle with Christmas quite a bit. I do really well with Thanksgiving for the reasons that I said earlier, but Christmas I tend to there's certain things I like about it, but usually about halfway through December I'm burnt out and trying very, very hard not to be a terrible Grinch type. Because I don't want anybody's fun ruined, but at the same token, I don't deal well.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of grin and bear it. And how long do I have to stay before I can get out of here? But a sloth girl does like to cook, so generally we just do a little thing that's usually just the two of us.
Yeah, that's actually. I like the tree. I like to cook. I like the candy canes, and that's about it. Um, the candy canes have a special little thing for my sister and I, but like in general, I get tired of the Christmas music pretty early. The advertisements starting so early really drive me up a wall. Seeing it, I think it's more of the retail aspect of it, I think, that burns me out. Even, like, I don't get me wrong, I get burnt out in general, but I think the retail aspect of it kind of kills me more than anything else.
Oh yeah, well, and we already had that here. Since they were predicting the snow for the day before Thanksgiving, Tuesday the stores here were a madhouse because everybody was afraid they wouldn't be able to get out today to get what they need to get ready for Thanksgiving. So
That's typically not an issue here. The worst that'll happen to us on Thanksgiving is it rains. Although it's going to be sunny tomorrow. Everybody hate me.
Oh, it's sunny here now. It's just that's the problem. The stuff came down wet and sloppy, and it's kind of melting where the sun's hitting it. So we're going to be trudging through a lot of slush underneath the snow.
Okay, somebody already used the term spanking in the chat, and you had to phrase it that way.
Well, Bub started with the spanking. Yeah, that's just. I'm not into impact play. But that, because to me, that recalls things from my childhood that, yeah, not happy. Not for this topic.
That's understandable. One of my weirdo Thanksgiving traditions is I typically
Shadow
celebrate.
Kitty. Sorry.
Hey, Shadow Kitty. Is I typically celebrate my birthday on Thanksgiving, no matter what day my birthday actually falls on.
You had mentioned that.
The only reason I'm kind of celebrating it today is because my dad was like, "You're not doing 2 days worth of meal prep for Thanksgiving and cooking dinner tonight." So he basically said, order whatever I want, which he's going to regret later because I'm picking the place he hates most. But I'm in the mood for it, so that's what we're getting.
Well, that's nice of you. Doing that for you.
Yeah. Well, it is 2 days worth of prep here, so I'm kind of appreciative that I don't have to try to do half of tomorrow's cooking and then dinner and then cooking all day tomorrow.
Okay, I'm being corrected by the side chat. Beelzebub said he didn't start the spanking. That nerdy started Spanksgiving.
I love how Bub got
defensive?
No. Bub got what's the word? Bub got in trouble for something he didn't do.
Yeah, that's pretty much my whole childhood.
Oh.
It was another reason that I grew up without really having any kind of ethics because there was no connection between what I did and what I got punished for. I got punished for a lot of shit that I didn't even know had happened, and I got away with a whole lot of shit that I actually did. Hey, Sassy.
So what is it you actually do that requires 2 days worth of preparation? Because that really sounds like a lot of
Okay.
excess effort for one day.
Okay. The thing is that when I'm done, the leftovers last us 3 days. So take that into consideration as well. I do stuff tonight so that in the morning my family wakes up and they have breakfast, and I don't have to cook breakfast while I am preparing for Thanksgiving meal.
See, now that makes sense. And there was me thinking that you were going above and beyond with.
No, I am doing, and also like I get tired really easily, so if I do like as much of the chopping today as I can, then tomorrow all I have to do is like throw it together, put it in the oven, and while that is still tiring and takes a lot of time, it is not nearly as bad as if I was trying to do it all in one day. And then they have breakfast and they have lunch prepared for them, because I typically don't get Thanksgiving dinner out until 8. No matter how hard I try to do it earlier, it just doesn't work. So I make sure that they have food so that they don't have to try to figure out how to get food from the kitchen in the middle of me trying to work. They can just like pop it in the microwave or whatever and then get out of the way. Because my kitchen is not the tiniest kitchen, but it does not room very many people very comfortably.
You're dropping out on us, Tria.
Figures. Hold on. My mic was a little bit soft when I checked earlier. I'm not sure why.
Well, I didn't really even know if it was you or anytime we have wet weather here, my internet connection can get flaky. Nerdy's saying canned microwave turkey.
Ew, that
No,
sounds
I'm not.
disgusting.
No, I am not putting my family through that. No, they'll get. I'm thinking that they're going to get a pot pie and then scrambled eggs for breakfast and a pot pie for lunch.
Yeah. I don't know that I still have a problem with the notion of canned meat in general.
Yeah, I can use it if things are desperate, but
Yeah, that's pretty much for me. It's the stuff that sits in my pantry until I don't have anything else.
Sassy, I don't mind most canned vegetables, but canned meats for some reason just there's something off about the texture. And no, the only time I have used canned meat was when we had a power outage that lasted 3 weeks, and we started running out of food that was okay in the fridge.
Yeah.
And so my dad started cooking using the grill outside. And we had gone through most of the vegetables, and there weren't really a lot of places to go and buy food. So we wound up using canned meats and stuff to get through.
Yeah, Mr. Shadow Kitty says canned meat is cat food. And that's the problem I have with it, that if you dump it out in a bowl, you probably can't tell the difference.
Not really. I mean, my cat's food has a little bit more what they call gravy in it, but that's damn near about the only difference.
When I was living in New York, the canned tuna was actually cheaper than the cat food. So I was just giving my cats tuna and eggs.
My cat loves eggs. Just absolutely goes nuts for them.
Okay.
All right, Sassy, I see ya.
Okay. I don't know what just happened there, but StreamYards gave me a message saying that my mic was unplugged. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. StreamYards is
Okay.
bad. StreamYards is acting up. Scooby and Shaggy. Shaggy is a stoner. Scooby is not. Scooby can't be a stoner because Shaggy is hallucinating him.
Yeah, that was pretty much my take on it. That basically Shaggy is doving in the back of the van all the time. Of course, the
Oops,
part
we
of it I
lost.
never understood was if he's doing it in the back of the van, why isn't it floating to the three people sitting up front?
Maybe that's why they think Scooby's real too.
Yep. We're losing
How do
people
you
left and right here.
how do you know that Shaggy isn't eating the Scooby snacks?
Lost you again there, Tria.
Let me try jumping out and jumping back in. Give me a sec.
Okay. I don't know what's happening here, but just everybody seems to be dropping out on me tonight. Or today. We had 5 people in here and now I'm all alone again. Where'd everybody go to? Although actually, Nerdy, from what I understand, the cat food is largely made from the organ meats because they don't sell well. So, do you think that maybe Shaggy is just stoned all the time and he's actually just lying on a mattress in an empty room and hallucinating all the adventures? Well, of course, Shaggy eats the Scooby snacks. I mean, if you're a stoner and you've got the munchies, just anything that crunches will do. You get it bad enough, it doesn't necessarily even have to be organic. I've seen people crunch on plastic. Yeah, everybody's been dropping out on me. Tria's trying to fix her computer and she's supposed to be back. I really don't know what happened to anyone else. Orla was in here and just disappeared without a word, and that's strange for her. Yeah, I know for animals in the wild, they'll go for the organs first. And actually, the organs have the most nutritional value, especially animals that are primarily carnivores. The organ meat is how they get their vitamins because you don't really get very many vitamins from meat. Usually it comes from vegetables. But if an animal eats almost nothing but meat, they can get a lot of the vitamins from the organs because the organs tend to store the vitamins in the body. Welcome back,
Okay,
Tria. How are you doing now?
is this Is this better? I played around with sound.
Yeah, we can
And-
hear you good.
Okay. For some reason, my mic was a little bit soft, and I'm not quite sure what I poked to make it a little bit better, but
Yeah,
whatever it was.
I'm still working with my headset. I actually got another mic because I thought my stand mic wasn't working, and I tried that, and basically I've narrowed it down that it's just the computer I have doesn't have a separate graphics card. The graphics and sound are built into the motherboard, and apparently that sucks. That just anything that's actually plugged into the regular microphone port can't get a very good signal.
Yeah.
So
My
I
thing
have to use
seems to
something plugged
be
into the USB. Hey.
my thing seems to be that Microsoft decides all of a sudden that the computer should control what my mic is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go and be like, no, why did you set it this way? I set it up the way I like it, and it worked the way I had it. So why are you course correcting for me? And why have you hidden it in under so many buttons that didn't exist before?
Oh, hey, Neil, I didn't see you come in there.
Hey, Doc.
Greetings and salutations.
So Sassy and Neil don't think that Shaggy's a stoner.
When
Why
did
not?
the original Scooby-Doo come out?
Oh, Shaggy is so a stoner.
Well, and I guess that's part of it is, it got downplayed in the later incarnations, but in the original series, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about 1969 here. Who wasn't on drugs back then?
Ah. Hey, Orla, was wondering what had happened to you.
My
Hello,
internet
Angie.
died.
So what's going on with you, Doc? You're part of the pain crew today?
Oh, I am indeed. Had so much snow. I don't know how much we got, but I shoveled frickin' all of it. The whole damn town.
Yeah. The storm that came through last night was actually wider than the entire state of Wisconsin. So, yeah, you and I are on opposite sides of Wisconsin, and we both got hit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
We
know
got
how
hit.
much we actually got, but when I went to bed last night, the predictions were that we were going to get about a foot overnight.
Yeah, I'm sure we got at least that. And the drifts. We had wicked drifts. So I actually was shoveling through like 3 feet of snow at points.
Y'all make me glad I live in Florida sometimes.
I am moving to freaking Florida or freaking Texas or freaking something.
Florida's slightly better than Texas. Depending on where you move, the conservatives are a little bit less twitchy.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get back to Minnesota. I can deal with the weather. We get about half the stupidity. I need to live in a more progressive state. Otherwise, I can never open my mouth in public.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think it's more this is my hometown. It's trash, but it's my home kind of deal. Like, I know it's terrible here. I'm not going to lie, but I love it.
Well, Minnesota's been good. And, Minnesota's managed to get third-party candidates even elected up to the state legislature. Well,
Oh,
hell, we
wow.
even had an independent for governor for 4 years.
I wish we could pull that off here.
Although I think it kind of happened the same way Trump did. When Jesse Ventura was running, nobody took him seriously. So a lot of people voted for him because they didn't like either of the mainstream candidates, but nobody actually thought he would win.
Our problem is that the Democrats that seem to be electable are just almost damn near Republicans under another name. There are exceptions, but a lot of them have very, very similar policies, and it's because basically they know that if they go too far off the Republican path, they will not get the votes.
Yeah, well, it's the problem of the Overton window. If it's shifted too far to one side, you're only going to get the opposing candidates that are at least leaning in that direction that have any chance to get elected.
Florida is not necessarily a large retirement home. It depends on where you live. Nobody retires to Jacksonville. Nobody. You might retire to certain parts of Tampa Bay, but you don't retire to Jacksonville. There's not. Jacksonville's infrastructure is terrible, and I'm lucky that I have rides for my sister through Medicaid now, because when I didn't, we couldn't go anywhere. For instance, we're living in a place where food options are widely available. We don't have the most extensive out of the entire city, but they're there and they're available. You can price shop. If you don't find something at one place, it's very, very easy to go somewhere else, little ways down the road. There's plenty of like service stations and things along that nature. But if you want to go see a doctor, you're going to be traveling you're probably going to go half an hour to another part of town. And that's if you have a car. If you don't have a car, you're talking more like an hour to an hour and a half. And depending on how early your doctor appointment is, you may not make it to it because the buses don't run there. And also a lot of bus stations are not within walking distance of important places to be. Like, there is not a bus stop near the place where my sister goes to get her therapy, even though that place is specifically for disabled people. There's not a bus stop that is reachable by a disabled person. It is reachable by an abled person, but not by a disabled disabled person. And it is like that all over town. There are places where you can't walk on the sidewalk because the sidewalk is too busted up.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying nobody in their right mind would retire here. They might go to I don't know where the retirement spot per se would be, but here is not it.
Well, around here, it's lucky we don't have a lot of traffic because you've got, people on the scooters and wheelchairs in the street because some of the streets just don't even have sidewalks.
Yeah, and it's like that here too. It's not, our infrastructure bites. Our bus system is difficult to work with even if you are abled. And there's just not bus stops in good locations. Some of it can be changed, some of it can't, just because of how things are built. But yeah, I would really, when we move, I would like to find a place that has a decent transportation system. Because there are going to be times where I'm not going to be able to take my sister to where she needs to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a very limiting choice. That there aren't many cities in the U.S. that actually have decent mass transit anymore.
I understand that. But the thing is that honestly, the other things usually that we need for her also coincide kind of with that. So I am excited to move, but I am also extremely nervous and reserved because I realize that a lot of the problems we have here, we're going to have trouble relocating to another place. But at the same token, Dad wants to be close to his side of the family again. He's not really had a lot of opportunity to see them. He actually likes them. They seem like okay peeps. I haven't been around them much. Don't know what's going to happen when they figure out I'm atheist, but but hopefully there's places we can go. And the other thing too is Dad has determined that we don't need to be near a military base anymore because he is getting kicked off of TRICARE and now being put on Medicare, and he's kind of pissed.
And knowing how Medicare is in most states, I would be too.
Oh, he is because he used to pay like a quarterly fee, and then like his drugs would be covered, any medical as long as he went to the base first. Even if they transferred him, was covered. Everything was covered for him as long as he paid that fee every 3 months. And now he's having to pay. I think he said 4 times the amount, and now he's got a copay. And he also does not have a base doctor anymore, and will have to choose a civilian doctor who he's going to have trouble finding one because people don't like taking Medicare around here.
And that's one of the big problems with Medicare, that even if you have decent Medicare coverage, in many areas it's hard to find a doctor who will accept Medicaid patients.
Which bites because my dad has been trying to keep his health up, and he has pre-diabetes. And it's at that stage where he can actually, if he makes enough changes, might be able to prevent actually getting it, but that is only if he keeps up with his doctor.
Yep.
He also has a CPAP machine, where if he doesn't have a CPAP machine, he stops breathing. And that is some scary shit.
Yeah.
He refuses to sleep without a CPAP machine.
Well, that's, I at least don't have any conditions that are really life-threatening. But yeah, because I wound up on Medicaid, that's why I have to drive to a clinic that's an hour away in another town, because I couldn't find a doctor here who was willing to take on any more Medicaid patients.
Mm-hmm. And also, my dad has a tendency for his blood, for some weird reason, to get thick. He doesn't have high cholesterol or any heart problems or anything, but his blood gets thick and starts clotting, and he also has to go on blood thinners from time to time. So, he is real pissed. Like, he was hoping that he could postpone switching everything over until he retired at 70. And I'm not sure if this is a Florida law or like a federal law or whatever, but they changed it to where if you don't get Medicare when you turn 65, they take a huge chunk out of your retirement money. So he is not a happy camper. And I'm kind of not happy along with him, because the care that he was getting was pretty good, and that's actually the kind of care I would like to have extended to everybody. But instead he's getting kicked off of it and pushed into something different that won't work for him. And it is not like he's not paying into the system. The premium isn't like super cheap, but it's not like heavily expensive, but he is still putting money into that system.
Yeah, we all know the U.S. healthcare is just fucked. It,
That's the nice way of putting it.
yeah, and I'm endorsing the Medicaid for all option, not because I think it's necessarily what we need. Excuse me, but I think that as a stepping stone, it's the best we can hope to actually get passed under our current system.
Hmm.
And then maybe once we get that passed and people get the idea that, hey, socialized medicine wasn't such a horrible thing, it didn't destroy the economy, then maybe
Hmm.
from there we can move to something worthwhile.
Yeah. I think unfortunately we're going to have to just, even though we really need all of these changes so badly now and fast, I think that maybe having stepping stones might be the only options we get people on board with.
Well, like I say, we need to prove to, these people who have been indoctrinated with the idea that anything socialist is a horrible thing. And it's like you don't realize how much of our country already, how many things are already socialized programs.
Yeah, that's the problem that I run into with my with my family is if it sounds anything like socialism, they will like go, "Oh, socialism is terrible. Look at X examples of how horrible it was." And then it's like, but we've already agreed, kind of as a community, as a whole, that there are certain things that we should all chip in and pay for. Now, granted, our politicians aren't doing their jobs right, but we've all agreed as a community that education should be paid for, that, the fire department should be paid for. It's like, it's like they don't put two and two together and realize that, hey, we're just talking about extending
Uh,
what we agree we should be paying for,
Now,
but
see,
they're
you're
so hung up on their trigger word of hearing socialism that if it even sounds remotely close to that, they'll shut down.
you're generalizing too much. Where I
I
where
said
I
my
live, they
family.
haven't even agreed that the fire department should be paid for, so we don't have one.
Oh, jeez.
We have a strictly volunteer fire department.
Most people do.
I can hear you,
It's
Faye,
hard
but
to
you seem
say.
pretty quiet.
Oh, okay. How about this?
That's better.
Hug
Okay.
the Wonder Lady.
Thank you. So what's the deal? The holidays giving everyone PTSD?
Not yet. And that'll hit around December 1st.
I don't do holidays. I do Thanksgiving. No, I do Halloween. I'll have my own minor Thanksgiving, alone. Sometimes I go over my landlady's, but most of the time I prefer to be alone. And I do blackout shopping so I can avoid the grocery store for the major stuff so I can just do quick skirmishes to run, buy milk, leave for a convenience store.
What do you mean blackout shopping?
Blackout shopping occurs right at around October, where I make sure I have like 20 bags of cat litter, lots and lots of cat
Hmm.
food, plenty of toilet paper, stuff I don't
Okay.
want to deal with holiday shoppers.
Right, I got it.
Frozen veg, that kind of thing. That way I really don't have to like deal with, "Oh, honey," while they're on their cell phone. Um, do you want the cranberry jelly or do you want the jellied cranberry? Which is it that you want, honey?
Yep. So you just hunker down like the preppers for a couple of months.
Yeah. Been doing it for the last 15 years and haven't been happier in my life. I haven't gone to one family Christmas in the last 15 years, and you couldn't make me if you tried. I
Yeah,
call my
I
memmy,
I
but I
think if we
don't.
actually had a breakout of a civil war, it would probably happen on Black Friday.
I don't do that either. Why should I shop because they're telling me to? Like, it's like, oh, we have all these great deals. One, they're not really great deals, and two, if they can afford to cut it for one day, then they can afford to not be douchebags all year round with the
Well,
prices. So
the
fuck them.
people miss a big thing about Black Friday that these days. Okay, most people realize that's called Black Friday because it's the day that retailers have paid their expenses for the year and everything after that is profit.
Mhm.
But people think this is counting from January. Actually, their fiscal year usually begins sometime in October, which means about a month to a month and a half after they've started, they've paid their expenses for the entire year.
I don't want to generalize about that because I don't know any details, and I'm sure some companies are different than others,
Well, I
depending
worked
on.
for Target, and my brother in law was a corporate accountant, so from what I've seen, that's pretty much the case.
Oh yeah, I can see that for Target, but and
Yeah, and
they need to pay people better, but like holidays are just so they're not for single people who've never had children and don't care about other people's spawn. You know, I don't care. It's like, oh, Christmas is for the kids. Well, I'm not putting up a freaking tree. Not putting that up. I don't want to. I'll draw you one. I'm not putting one up.
Yeah.
To be fair, I
Well,
don't think my Christmas would be that much different without my kids because we don't go anywhere. I
Mhm.
don't put up that many decorations. I order my food shopping online a month in advance because if I don't, I can't get a slot. So I, it would more or less be the same, except for a bunch of kids coming downstairs for half an hour, ripping open all their presents, and then disappearing for the rest of the day.
Aw, that's cute though. I like the little savagery, but I used to be a nanny for a Jewish family, and Hanukkah's so much nicer. Just gotta say.
yeah, well, I grew up in a Jewish community, so I saw the Hanukkah, and
Yeah,
definitely a
and
much lower key affair.
yeah, and Jewish Christmas is great. You go out for Chinese food and then to a movie.
Yep. Well, and you know why the Chinese food for the Jews on Christmas.
The only place that's open.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they had to find someone else who wasn't celebrating Christmas, and the Asian immigrants didn't care about Christmas.
gotta love them. I give Kish presents all year round. I don't really do the whole holiday. I don't
I
see the
do,
point.
I invented my own holiday that I call random cool present day,
Oh, cool.
which is just I don't buy presents for people for holidays, but when I see things they like, I pick them up and I put them in my closet. And when it turns out that I've got a present for everyone in the house, then it's random cool present day that everybody gets a present.
See, when the grocery stores still give out brown paper bags, back in the day,
Hmm.
we used to cut them, turn them inside out, and wrap presents with the brown paper bags and string. Not because we were cheap ass, but because it's like, why waste paper? It was more of
Yep.
a save the planet type of thing because hippie mommy. Yeah.
Well, I used to wrap presents in the Sunday comics because they were colorful and everybody's going to throw them away anyway.
You spend more time reading your present before you open it.
Yep, that was part of it too, that people would be careful to unwrap it so that they didn't lose the punchline in the last panel.
And everyone knew who you loved the most because that's the person you gave Calvin and Hobbes to.
I was doing that before Calvin and Hobbes was in the paper.
You know what I mean, though.
But yeah,
Yeah. I don't like the holidays. I
and
can't wait
I
until
thought
they're
it was a
over.
fun thing, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people in my family thought I was being cheap, and it's like, yeah, well, okay. If you're going to be ungrateful about it, I don't think I need to buy you presents anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't see the point of it. I think especially in the United States we take Christmas too far. I had a
Yeah.
one of my neighbors. I was at my landlady's and she shows me her Facebook. One of my neighbors was like, "My poor children aren't hardly getting anything for Christmas." And I swear there was 75% of her Christmas tree was buried in presents, and she's sitting there whining and saying people should drop stuff off for her kids because they're not going to get enough.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I don't want to clean your house, lady. You got too much crap in it.
I ran into that too. I tried to help with some charities on that, and then I was
Mhm.
realizing that half the people that we were helping with the charities were getting more stuff than my kids were. Yeah, I put a pretty sour taste in my mouth for a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, they get a lot of stuff, but it's not their choice.
Yeah. Well, I still try to, do some stuff with some of the toy drives and that, but and as far as the toy drives go, one of the big ones is the Marine Corps runs the Toys for Tots thing.
Mhm.
I cannot support that anymore after knowing a couple of people that were in the Marines that
Oh.
they have some sketchy practices. Among other things, I'd heard of several cases where basically the Marines' families were able to go in there, go in the warehouse before they wrap the stuff and pick out stuff for their own kids.
Oh.
Yeah, and I heard that from multiple people in different states, so it's not like it was a unique thing to one area.
Well, not to join you in the charity things. Like I'm not competing, but please do not give to the Salvation Army.
Oh yeah, Salvation Army and Goodwill are both horrible the way they treat the people who work for them.
Not only that, but what they do with the goods. The Hurricane Katrina donations were sold in the thrift stores and not sent to the victims.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Not to mention the fact that they denied us ice for lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. I also have a problem with any charity organization that the CEO is making over $500,000 a year.
Yeah. That's always problematic. But yeah, when I was working at the Salvation Army, they had hired a new girl and cut my hours down to like 30. And I'm going, I'm not going to be able to eat and pay rent. And so then they told me of where a good place was where I could go prostitute myself.
Yep, I remember you telling that story.
I tell it every Christmas because it's true. Not that I have anything against prostitution, but I don't want to.
Yeah, well, if somebody chooses to do it, that's one thing.
Mhm.
If somebody's being told they have to do it, that's a different matter entirely.
Mhm. And if someone is my employer and they can't give me the hours that we agreed upon when they hired me. And their solution for that is to tell me to go hook. Well, I can recommend some non lubricated candles. Yeah, that's beside the point. Sorry, I've been talking too much.
No, no, not
Anyway,
at all. Not at all, and I'm agreeing with virtually everything you're saying here. Just I was just typing in the chat while you're talking. As
oh,
far
okay.
as the Christmas tree is one thing I do like, and part of that's because it's part of my Scandinavian heritage, and they were doing it in Scandinavia and Germany for hundreds of years before anybody there had heard of Christians.
That's that's very true. Hey, do you know why Saint Nick can travel the world in one night? I know the answer.
Okay, how's this?
Because the Catholic Church chopped him up and there's bits and pieces of him everywhere as relics.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's true. Thing is, they did identify two graves as being Saint Nick, so I think there's actually two corpses that are supplying the world with tongues and fingers and toes. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about Saint Nick specifically, but I know the Catholic Church does that, and that a lot of churches have like a finger or a bone from some saint.
Well, Ask a Mortician has a wonderful episode about it.
Information.
You what?
I said I love that piece of information.
Oh, yes. Well, it's How to Ruin Christmas, and my favorite mortician talks about that all the time. And I just love it.
Yeah, I'm subbed to her channel. I'll have to look up that video.
There's more than one because we must ruin Christmas. Hmm.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's quite ghoulish, and if I am not recommending to anyone to Google saint relics, and especially not Google image saint relics. I'm not recommending that. Not. Mhm.
okay. It's a good thing you threw in the third knot because if it's an
There
even
I go.
number, then that's a
Immediately looking
positive.
into it.
Mhm.
Orla's attitude towards it would probably be wee.
Well,
The
I
rest
find
of
that
us,
the more
You are correct.
I,
Okay,
I find the more that a woman says don't do something, then people will be like, I'm gonna do that.
okay. Here's a question for you.
What?
Well, like the Catholic Church does this, that different churches will have like fingers and toes and the nose and whatever of the same saint
Mhm.
scattered out across the world.
Mhm.
But desecrating a grave is a crime.
Ah, it's a little bit deeper than that. You know that bit in Revelations where the dead come back and they walk the earth? Well, they actually require their corpse for that. So that's why Catholics don't support cremation. So if they take their favorite people from their church, cut them up and spread them out around the world, they're denying them their resurrection. Hmm.
No, I don't know how many people here have seen the movie The Iron Giant, but now I'm getting the image of like the last scene in that movie where all the parts are
Dead
trying to crawl around, trying to gather themselves back together.
Yeah,
head of both
Saint Nick will be a
will be relic
two-headed one.
and
I
Yeah,
missed
you'll
that
have
completely.
all these little zombie body parts crawling all over the continents trying to find the right pieces to join back together with.
Oh Oh, purple, that would make a great little short, wouldn't it? Like
Oh
that would
my
be a great
gosh.
little action movie. We could write the zombie apocalypse, aka Revelation thing, where the dead come back on Christmas Eve. They all look for their bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, so what then happens to the ones that try to get all their pieces together, and find out that through the mishandling over the ages, a couple of the bones have crumbled to dust, and they're missing a vertebrae or something, so they can't link up.
Well, then they can't go to the party. As far as I know, they can't go to the party. I could be wrong. Probably
Oh.
wrong. I wasn't brought up in a religion. I'm just going by hearsay.
Well, is Bub still with us? He's a good one on the Catholic Church practices.
Yeah, I always wondered because they were like, the Mormon church says that you're not to cremate a body because of the resurrection.
So,
And
okay,
it was
I
like,
wasn't
but
far
God,
off.
okay, but God can do anything, right? So why does it matter whether the body is still there?
Yeah.
Because God is lazy. Like, ew.
I knew
guess
that
that's
the
a good
Catholic Church
descriptor.
didn't like cremation. I
See,
didn't understand the reason why.
No, they straight up told us that when the resurrection comes, that it makes it more difficult.
yeah.
And I also think that there's an added thing in, and this is not doctrinal, this is just me throwing my opinion about doctrine that I have heard. But one of the church doctrines is that your husband can call you back from the grave if he's given authorization by God. So I'm wondering if it's partially because of that too. It's like, well, if you're cremated, you can't be called by your husband, aka you can be brought back, but you will not have the same relationship with your husband because he couldn't call you. But again, the first part's doctrine, the second part is very much me, putting my personal opinion and experience
Right.
into the
So all
equation.
that really means is because we don't have this upsurgence of zombies in the world, is that Mormon husbands don't love their wives.
Hey,
Ha
Bub.
ha ha
Hey, everybody.
ha.
Well, it finally kind of makes sense of, why they pump the bodies with formaldehyde and all the preservatives.
No, they just try to make money.
Well, yeah, but especially like the Mormon thing, it's like, what guy's going to want to call his wife back if she's like decomposed? He wants her to look the way she did when she was, in her prime.
Magic.
Hey, Bob.
So somebody said something about asking a little
Catholics?
bit about Catholic doctrine. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we were
go ahead.
talking about the Catholic Church and how they, like have relics that are actually parts of the saints' bodies that are in churches all over the world.
Yeah. Once upon a time, I actually had one too.
I
I'd
forget
always
how
considered
many.
that a really ghoulish thing, but
Oh, it definitely is. But like because I was brought up with it, it seems
Okay, until you realized it wasn't.
yeah. Until I was like, okay, this is actually really fucked up.
well, and I
Yeah,
remember
I know
a
that
couple of Catholic
feeling.
churches, of that they would have these things on display, like in a glass case, that they would have like the finger of some
Oh,
saint.
Yeah.
oh, I know another disturbing thought. This is during the medieval era. Is anyone eating?
No,
No.
I'm done.
No.
Okay. Well, apparently it was relics were really, really popular in the medieval ages, and a common person could buy one if they had enough money. And sometimes there were like 8, maybe 18 different holy foreskins of Jesus in various European towns during the Middle Ages. And one of the big ones, one of the biggest foreskin, Jesus foreskin. We're being picky here. Are that's where Jesus hung his foreskin, was around Saturn, explaining the rings of Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're saying is Jesus had a absurdly large dick.
If you don't believe me, you can watch QI. Quite interesting. Stephen Fry episode. They have a clip of it. Just look for how big was Jesus's foreskin, and they'll talk about the rings of Saturn.
So
Yep.
Jesus had a dick the size of a planet.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, you know what that makes the Milky Way then.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if that was hereditary, I think that Mary was probably glad for the Immaculate Conception.
Well, no, since she gave birth to him, she probably had to suffer as they, like the baby's out, but we're still pulling out the dick. Anyway.
So googling it, apparently you can buy antique saint
Foreskins.
relics.
Oh, and yeah, saint relics.
Angie is saying she really wants you to
Okay.
tell her kids stories, Faye.
Orla, are you going and buying relics on the interwebs?
No.
That's not very convincing.
Kind of related to this thing of buying relics on the interwebs.
Because you have to have gold-plated body parts. I mean, come on.
Well, just last night on one of the hobby channels I follow, the guy does mostly Lego stuff. And a couple of weeks ago, he bought a cursed Lego brick on eBay that was found in an abandoned hospital. So last night he had received it and was doing the unboxing of this cursed brick.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's the one that you would actually wear around your neck. And you have people kiss it like a cross. Kiss my brick. Kiss my brick.
Yeah, I just... The idea that somebody actually advertised a toy on eBay as being cursed.
There's plenty of them. There's a Lego cursed Cobra's Chuck. Oh, or unless that's part of the name. I don't know. Anyway. I don't know.
Diane in the side chat's doing a good imitation of Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide.
You have people that have collections of cursed dolls because, obviously you see them online, cursed dolls. So
that makes me incredibly happy. Think about it. You can have a cursed doll. I might get into doll collecting.
Well, but if people believe these things are actually cursed, why would they have them in their home?
Because they're special.
And they're into creepy shit.
Well, I don't believe in magic, so bring me the cursed items.
Yeah, the logic escapes me.
I love it because my ex hates dolls anyway. I move them around the house just to terrorize him sometimes. So when that was advertised as cursed.
You don't move them around; they move themselves.
The one I could never stand were the sock puppet monkeys.
Oh,
I would swear that when those are made, they are knitted with the souls of orphan children.
Oh, you make them sound so attractive. That's so sweet. Aww.
You're giving Wonder Lady and Orla ideas for presents for themselves.
The sock puppet monkeys always creep me out.
I love them. Now I know why.
I always dug them.
I always got jealous of anyone who had one. But I used to play with puppets when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that curses aren't real. I'm certain if they were, my life would be a hell of a lot worse than it is now.
Well, you never know.
Well, I
Magic.
offended a fair number of people in the pagan community over the years, so
You might have been cursed a few times.
yeah, if any of that stuff worked, I'm sure at least a dozen times.
Oh,
Who
hell.
would want to curse you?
What was that?
Who would want to curse you? That's ridiculous.
Well, it's just the kind of, in any community, you have a certain amount of infighting. So while
Oh.
most of the pagans are pretty laid back and don't care what anybody believes, there are denominations that are sure that they have the truth and that anyone who questions their practices is, whatever. So I
You're
ran into
talking
a
about
couple of those
people I
types.
know.
Yeah, I ran into a couple of those types, and I got in some arguments on some of the pagan bulletin boards for pointing out the inconsistencies in their beliefs.
Oh.
Okay, Neil pointed out that curses aren't real, okay? But they are real if you believe in them because you're paranoid that something is going to happen.
Mm. So anything that could happen, if it happens, and usually anything can happen, that just proves the curse, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh.
I mean,
I'm
with
gonna get
some people,
going.
you just say, "Oh, I'm going to curse you," and then they freak out about it and focus
Yep.
every single piece of bad luck and blame it on that.
What I
Yeah.
don't get is why people are upset by curse words. Do they really think they're magic? Or is it just
Feeling too
offensive
good,
to
so.
their sensibilities?
Yeah, I'm gonna get going. My headache's gone, but I'm feeling nauseous now. So take it
Oh.
easy.
Oh, feel better.
Okay.
Hope you feel better
Okay.
soon.
Yep.
Bye, bub.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Well, I did spend 25 years in the pagan community hoping I could find something that made sense and explored a lot of different systems and, yeah, couldn't find any of them that really had anything to support them.
Any good parties?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Oh, okay.
I did wind up getting into a couple of swingers group through the people I met there, so
Oh, that's awesome then.
yeah. That was probably the reason I stayed with it as long as I did, is they didn't have most of the sexual hang-ups and, they didn't care about anybody being gay or lesbian or whatever they said they wanted to be.
That's very helpful.
Actually, in the pagan community, about the worst thing you could be was a cis male.
Really?
A lot of the traditions, are founded on the idea of the feminine energy, and a lot of it is reactionary to the Christians being everything masculine. So you get a lot of like the Dianatic traditions that are all centered around the goddess, and that basically the goddess has all the power and the male counterpart shows up briefly in the spring to fertilize things, and then you don't hear about him for the rest of the year.
Yep. I know about that.
Oh
I
dear.
found out about that one during English class.
That
Well,
was a
paganism does cover,
Machiavellian
like,
laugh.
sorry.
No, what did you say?
I was going to say paganism does cover something like over 300 religions. So you can't
Oh,
really say
That's
that's
true.
all of it.
that's way too conservative. It's more like in the thousands if you really, get into it. And,
And then you get into people.
well,
Sorry.
it's like Christianity. It's like, yeah, you have Catholics and Protestants, but then you have how many subgroups of each of those?
And then you have people who take up elective practices.
Yep.
Elective practices such as.
Pick one god from one pantheon, pick one god from
Yep.
another, and adopt them both.
Oh, I have a friend who does that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually what I did most of the time. I was a solitary eclectic. And I would just, call on whatever God image I thought was most appropriate for whatever I was doing at the time. So at one point I had to do a ritual for a car, so I called on on Primus, the god of the Transformers.
Oh my.
It seemed appropriate.
I think it was. Yeah. I think it was.
I was a solitary eclectic Wiccan myself,
Really?
and I never could settle on a pantheon, so I started making my own.
I'm kind of sad. I never got the experimental phase. I just became ex-Mormon and then eventually just X everything. I didn't even experiment.
Well, see, in the atheist community, I feel a little bit left out because I really don't have a deconversion story. It was more like a gradual erosion over a couple of decades.
There is kind of one weird thing. Growing up, I used to get attacked by dogs all the time. They'd just freaking come out of nowhere and attack me, right? But like, I got into Wicca in college, and after that, I I can get along with virtually every dog I encounter. It's a little weird. I don't think anything magic happened. I think just my attitude towards animals changed, and they can sense that through my body language, because dogs know human body language.
Yep.
Yeah, better than we do.
But it was just a weird thing. It was about the closest thing to anything magical or supernatural I experienced.
Well, that's why we can't talk to cats because
Oh,
we
we
don't have the
can.
tail.
Oh, we
Cats
can.
can't understand anything you're saying if they can't see the position of your tail.
I beg to differ. My cat damn well knows when I'm telling him to stop because he'll look right at me, stop what he's doing, and then continue to look at me and keep doing what he was doing before.
Well, he's just surprised that you think you have an opinion.
No, I do think that they can communicate with us on some level. I mean, after all, that they did adapt to meowing
Mhm.
at people, which is
Yeah.
about the equivalent of crying and trying to get your attention. So there
Well,
is
this is true.
a
Cats.
limited amount of communication between
Yeah.
us.
I think that they communicate well in concepts that are easily relatable to them. Say, like, I can't scream at my cat taxes. He's not going to know what the hell that is. But if I tell him stop, he knows what that is. He just doesn't want to.
Well, when Loki wanted to go outside, he went to use the cat flap, but Auntie was over, and I said to him, "Would would you rather I open the door for you?" And he thought about it, and he turned around and he went to the door. And my sister's giggling. She goes, "He knows you're an obedient cat servant." And I went, "Yes, but he knew enough English to know that I was offering to open the door.
Yeah. Well, no, and cats have adapted to us. Cats in feral colonies do not vocalize very much. They do not meow.
No.
They basically only do that to communicate with humans.
Yep.
And yeah,
Basically, because we're big, lovable dum dums. Is essentially what
there
it is.
have been, numerous tests that they've done and basically concluded that a cat does have a human vocabulary somewhere between a 3 and a 5-year-old.
I
That
don't
makes
know
sense
about
because
that.
my cat acts like a 3 to a 5-year-old.
Well, they need to improve your training constantly.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, it depends on the cat. I mean, the contrast in personalities between my cat and Sloth Girl's, it's, yeah, completely different. Sammy is just kind
Yeah.
of laid back and goes along with everything and is always apologizing even though he never causes any trouble. And Sloth Girl's cat is like, yeah, I did that. What you gonna do about it, bitch?
Mm-hmm.
I know of one cat that has been trained as not a companion animal, like an assistant, and helps during seizures and stuff. I have
Oh.
no idea how this was achieved, but I'm guessing
Some
that the
cats are
cat is
very
very special.
trainable. Some cats are very trainable. Mine usually doesn't act up this badly, but because the weather is cooler, he is a little bit more hyper, and I'm struggling with him a bit more. But I do have him pretty well trained for most things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest obstacle that I'm finding right now is he's hyper and also kind of anxious for some reason. Um, and when he's anxious, he tends to want to bury things a little bit more often. And I'm trying to figure out how to get him out of burying things because using my clothes to bury his food is not fun for me, but
Yeah.
without causing him more anxiety.
I think he's commenting about his food.
He is, but there's not much I can do about it. He won't eat chicken. He can't have beef. He's decided he doesn't like tuna anymore. So it's kind of difficult to find food he does like, especially since the three main ones he won't touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh my!
the
And
I
big
some
get
problem
salmon
with
for
training
Christmas.
cats,
He won't eat salmon right now.
Oh dear.
the big
Um,
problem with training cats is, trying to find something that will actually motivate them. Because,
It's not
dogs will do just about anything to keep their favorite people happy.
right, but it's not training with cats. It's actually them training you.
Yeah. Well, and, like, even the thing about cats as medical animals, and I saw that with my fiance, that Sophia was her medicine kitty. And she would often come and get me when she sensed that something was starting to go wrong. And sometimes she was coming and getting me, and it's like I got into the room and everything seemed okay. And within 5 minutes, my fiance was having an asthma attack.
Hmm.
So somehow her cat could tell that was coming on before it actually started.
My grandmother fell and broke her arm, and my mother was in her room because she's trying to sleep, and our Morgan kept going back and forth. He kept coming into the room, which he never does, and he tried to drag her out. Meanwhile, my grandmother's going, "Well, this sucks. Can I stand? No, I can't stand. Oh, this sucks." You know. And finally, my mother listened to the cat, and went to where he was, but uh, he slapped her to get her to pay attention to him, as if to say, "This is not normal. Get up now." So she finally did, and then she discovered her mother on the floor. She said, "I fell on the over the fan," and my mother, of course, was all freaked out. But Morgan knew.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah. It is a matter of how much they get attached to particular people.
Oh, he was a Russian blue, so apparently he was OCD and awful.
I had a Russian blue, and she was one of the most loving cats I ever had.
Yeah, to the immediate family. Try to bring anyone else into the household.
No, even when I moved in with my ex, that's yeah, she decided she was going to help take care of the kids there.
Aww.
I mean, she was very independent and off
Maybe it's
doing her
because
own
I
thing
had a
most of the
male.
time, but yeah,
Maybe it's because I had a male.
that could be. Also, the one that I got was because Sloth Girl had found her trapped under her porch glider one morning after a big snowstorm.
Oh.
And she was a kitten. She was like 6 or 8 weeks old, so she shouldn't have been away from her mother yet.
I was gonna say it's a little young.
Yeah, the guy next door had a Russian blue, you know. Yeah, swore up and down, couldn't have had anything to do with it, couldn't have been related. He actually said that the cat had been fixed, and 6 months later the cat was pregnant again. So basically, it seems like either that was the only kitten that survived, or she only had the one and she abandoned it.
Sounds like one of our number. Doesn't Jen with one N have a set of stories about birth control not working?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I
for
get it.
people, there's a common reason for that. That I am surprised how many women don't know about this and how many doctors never mention it. That many antibiotics can completely defeat birth control pills.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. It's amazing how few people know that.
And
Also,
I'm really surprised that that is not common knowledge.
It should be. It really should be. I have a feeling. Is it that the knowledge just isn't there in professional circles, or is there some conspiracy?
Yeah, I don't
birth
get what it
control.
is, because it's like you would think when the doctors are prescribing the antibiotics, this is something they would make a point of telling the women.
Yes. What I don't know offhand is how long the birth control is messed up. I mean, are you shot for an entire? I figure you're shot for an entire cycle, right?
I don't know the specifics of it. I just know that it happens a lot. That women are on the
I'm
pill and surprised to get pregnant, and it's like
I
after they're
wasn't.
pregnant, then they're told that, oh yeah, the antibiotic might have done that.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because antibiotics are so common. You would think that they would tell. Also, but keep in mind, I come from a background where sex education in general, including medications and condoms and stuff, is really, really low. I just think that the reason I wasn't told when I was on them was because my damn doctors didn't know. They
And that's
had
what I wonder
really
about.
archaic. They had really archaic views on birth control and like women in general, and just it was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Well, and I do wonder about that how many of the general practitioners aren't really aware of this. Because I found out about it from a pharmacist.
Well, Pharmacists absolutely have to know everything about everything. Yeah, they seem to be the go-to when it comes to stuff like that. Instead of asking your physician, you even have in all the ads, the PSAs, that sort of thing. Ask your pharmacist. One of these deals.
Yep.
Maybe that's it.
Well, and I had that happen 3 times picking up medications for my fiance. That I'd go to the pharmacist to pick them up, and he'd say, "No, I don't think I should fill this because it can interact with something else she's taking." And he'd send us
Hmm.
back to the doctor to talk about it. And the doctor would look it up and say, "Oh, yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea." But it's like, so you didn't look this up before you prescribed it?
Mm. Oh, geez, Tria. Yeah, I can't remember if you had said it previously, but that is just horse shit.
And the thing
I
is that
remember.
I wish that were like a one-off, but
But
I
it's not.
I had that happen to me multiple times, and I've talked with other girls, and we've talked about how birth control is generally withheld for one reason or another, and there's this push of, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, your period should be better after you get pregnant, we don't know why.
Yay.
And it's like, I don't think my periods are going to get better after I get pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's
Well,
going to.
personally, mine did get better after I was pregnant and had my first kid. Because I would go up to 3 months without having one, and then it would be really, really heavy and awful and horrible cramps. But then after I had my first kid, they did calm down quite a lot. I still miss the odd month here and there, but it's nowhere near as bad as what it used to be.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I'm not saying that can't be the case, but that shouldn't be a reason to withhold birth control.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
Or-
true.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
interesting.
birth control can fail you if you're ill as well. It won't necessarily just be antibiotics. Like if you have stomach issues or something and you're taking the pill.
Mhm.
Okay, hang on here. What's going? Oh, I see. Oh, I know why I have to join the StreamYards. Yeah, because the browser died midstream. Okay, that's why. Yeah, it's interesting what NANA said. Uh, the name I had recognized, but I couldn't remember what it was. NANA was taking ranitidine for 5 years. Now it's being recalled for something about cancer. Yeah, ranitidine was one of those anti acid reflux things.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are going to be affected on that baby.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
on
crap,
that one
I'm
for a
taking
while,
that.
but it wasn't very effective, so they didn't. I was only on it for a couple of months.
I don't think I was ever on ranitidine. I was on cimetidine for ages, which is the other one.
Hmm.
Cimetidine, I think, is marketed as Tagamet. I forget what ranitidine was. Let me look. There's got to be something in there.
Yeah, I'm on.
Well, I'm glad you're saying something because
Zantac.
that's also been prescribed to my kitty, and I don't
Ooh.
give it to him very often, but I need to stop that shit.
Yeah, you need
Okay.
to go talk to your vet if there's something else.
I'm going to be talking to my vet pretty soon here. It's almost time to take Elmer back in. And Elmer is doing okay, but I can tell that the drugs are not working as well as they have been in the past. And we may take him off a couple and see where he goes. If he does not wind up being okay after we've taken him off said pills, I may be looking at that bit that I haven't that I've been trying to avoid for a while, because I am not going to keep my cat if he is not happy and healthy. He's not
Right,
happy. He's not.
Yeah.
He's,
I don't blame you on that one.
No,
It's
you do have to make the call at some point. The quality
yeah.
of life is important.
yeah, and it's still good right now, so I feel good about where we're at. But I'm noticing that because after a while he starts to um, not get as much out of the medicines.
Hmm.
And the last time, 2 times, we just switched medications, but we're on like the last ditch. We've tried everything else. There are no other options after this meds. So it's a Sylvia cat.
We're
Well,
talking about kitties, so Sylvia doesn't want to be left out. Well, okay, now she's had enough. There she goes.
Tria, there may
Like,
be
hi,
the
Mom.
possibility of rotating the medications. That I've had it myself that there have been some medications that worked for me for a few months and stopped working, and they
Yeah,
put
with
me on
me, that's
something
called.
else for a while. But that like no one medication would work for more than 3 or 4 months. But if they kept rotating me back and forth between like 3 different ones, that I would, be able to get the effect.
Yeah, with me, that
I'll
was
ask
called
the vet about
antidepressants.
this because the vet pretty much when I told him that pretty much the last time we switched around, he was just as upset as I was because he was like, "You're one of my few people who comes in and actually, like 100% cares about the health of your kitty."
Oh yeah,
And like some people don't care nearly as much as they should. And he was like, and we've only been fighting 8 months, and I was like, I've been fighting for 2, um, but yeah, there's gonna come a point where I can't do this anymore, either because
yeah,
it's not working for him or because I run out of the monies.
yeah. Well, most people would not, have put up with a cat that needed that much care for as long as you have. So that's,
I don't know. I guess I'm
Yeah,
too squishy.
but
that's,
it's a wonderful thing about you that you're willing to do that.
Eh,
that's one of the few good things I can say
what?
about my ex.
And sorry, Diana.
Hmm? Yeah, well, that's one of the few good things I can say about my ex is that she really, really took care of Ariel Kitty, for especially the last 5 years of her life where she had chronic kidney disease. And, she spent whatever it took, did whatever it took. She was giving her parenteral dialysis on a daily basis, for example. Um, so I guess Ariel meant something to her. I'm just,
Hmm.
just a wild guess. That's.
Yeah, and you're saying it's a great thing, but honestly, it's really the bare minimum people should be doing if they own a pet. If they have a pet, they should like. I understand if you don't have the physical, mental, or financial capability to take care of a special needs pet, but if you decide to keep them, you should be putting that much effort in making sure that they're okay.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I
Um,
feel, as long as they're moving around and they, get interested enough to play with things now and then, that I'm willing to, keep them going. If they're just kind of lying there like they're just waiting to die and never show any interest in anything, yeah, at that point, then you kind of question, are you really keeping them around for their sake or just because you're attached to them?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and well, I could go into another line of discussion on that one, but I probably shouldn't because people wouldn't like it, huh?
Yeah, it's a very subjective call, It it's something that you really have to look at each individual situation. There aren't any good guidelines for it.
No, and like I said, there's gonna come a point if I don't have the money to keep it going, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna put myself into more of a financial bind than I
Yeah.
already have. Um, in fact, at some point, because of all of his problems, the vet said we'll have to do blood transfusions.
Yeah.
And he dropped that on me a few visits ago. We haven't had to even discuss it yet, but I think when I go in, I'm letting the vet know up front so that he knows what to expect. That if we start talking blood transfusions, that is out of my capabilities, out of what I can do financially and mentally at this point. Oh, I'm sorry. That's losing kitties that young hurts a lot.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. My sister has a cat that fell out of a tree and suffered a severe spinal injury, but has survived. So he's largely paralyzed. He can kind of use his front arms. He can't use his back legs at all. And she's been taking care of him like that for like 6 or 7 years now. But he can't get up or down on anything. She has to lift him into the bed at night and lift him down to the floor, to feed him.
Uh-huh. I'm just checking. Yeah, okay. It was polio. My Bobcat took care of her Rexy that way for years and years and years and years. Rexy had polio and was paralyzed.
It
And
never occurred
the
to
only
me
way I
that that was
remember
something that
Rexy
affected
was.
cats.
Say again?
It had never occurred to me that cats could be affected with
Oh,
polio.
no. Rexy was a puppy. Sorry about that.
Oh, well, still, I just
Yeah,
saw it was a human disease. I didn't realize other animals
oh,
got that.
yeah. And the only way I remember Rexy was paralyzed. He would always be on the couch, but you'd have to lift him up to do whatever he needed to do, whether it would be, eat or crap or anything like that. Um, but I remember I would play under the kitchen table with him there, and so that was quite a while ago. I think maybe I was 2 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Um, Elmer and his food have not been getting along. I wish I could figure out which food he'd be happy with, but yeah, he is giving me more signals that he does not like the food, and that does not necessarily mean that he has flared up, but it's usually one of the first warning signs that a flare up is on the way. So,
Okay, then.
um, and I understand that he's telling me that message, and I try to find the foods that he likes, but I do not like him pulling clean clothes from my laundry drawer
Oops.
and putting it over his food. That has to stop.
Yeah, I guess so. Darn it.
At least for you, it's over your food, over his food. My fiance, one of her cats, took 2 years trying to drive me out of the house, and she would lay booby traps. She actually, I'd left my jeans on the floor overnight,
Oh no.
and yeah, she had actually crapped in my jeans and folded them back over it so that I was not aware of it until I tried to stick my foot in, and halfway down the leg felt something
That shouldn't be
uncomfortably
there.
mushy.
Yeah. Well, this one will do that sort of thing. Happily not with clothing, but if I have left the kitty litter a little too long, she'll take a crap on the bath mat and then fold that over.
Yep.
And if I see the bath mat folded over, so yeah, okay, I haven't done anything with the kitty litter. Yeah, human's fault.
No, mine doesn't do that. But he will also come out and scratch the floor, like he's still trying to bury it. If I haven't done the litter box in a while,
Okay.
yeah, he'll make and the thing is again, like he gets it. If it were like a couple of seconds, I wouldn't be so trying to divert him. But he'll spend a good 30 seconds trying to do this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to find a balance between him telling me off because he has the right to tell me he's not happy, but not, be so obsessive about it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, take care, Angie. Be good. Have fun.
Oh, yep. Bye, Angie. I was about to say for anyone who missed the beginning of the stream, StreamYards is now putting time limits on the free users of 20 hours per month.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, if I'm going to be streaming twice a week, that means I have to keep these streams down to around 2 hours.
And we're hitting just about that point.
They're also being very vague because I don't know if that means 20 hours while I'm actually connected to YouTube, or if it counts the 20, 30 minutes beforehand that I'm in the StreamYard studio before I make the YouTube connection.
Oh, man. I would personally err on the side of caution.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm figuring that, I have to keep the time on YouTube down to about 2 hours and, allow for that setup time.
Yeah, and
for about,
keep the setup time short.
Well, 15 minutes to half an hour before each stream, and that's going to run me up to the 20 hours a month if it's.
And then no 3.5 hours talking about stuff after the show's over either.
Yeah. Which is really going to suck because it just means I'm not going to get to talk to people as much as I'm used to.
Well, Google Hangout still exists. We could go that way as far as off-air talking.
Yeah, for private chats.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is that the membership for the StreamYards is $20 a month.
Which wow.
Unfortunately.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, for me, I get by month to month, but
did they raise it?
$20 a month it's a bit much more.
I thought it was 16 before earlier. Did they raise it?
Yep, and I said, I said from the beginning this was going to happen, that they were going to put time limits on it, and they were going to crank up the prices once it got popular. So actually,
bullshit. Take care.
They're actually now advertising that the basic package is $25 a month, but since they just put the limits on the free users, I can get this special deal if I subscribe now for $20 a month.
Okay, whoa. Is this particular StreamYard service worth $25 for a basic? No, I wasn't going to. Thank you. I was going to say that.
Well,
I was saying it without saying it, really.
I would say it isn't, but since I can't get OBS to work with my account, what other option do I have?
We're going to have to work on this one way or another. I hate to say it, Purple, but, you're still small enough where you need another channel, honey.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Unfortunately, it's like, I've got the name established. People know who I am, and it's coming up with.
This has been going on since you had 1 subscriber. You still need to change.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. If you introduced one different character into the name, that would count as a different name, would it not?
It's his channel. It's his account.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
no, it's not going to work that way.
It's not going to. Okay.
He needs a new thing. His whole system's glitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, purple instead of writing your name out PURPL, maybe do a capital I. It'll look the same on YouTube, and you'll have the name, and you can start a
No,
different channel.
no, it has nothing to do with whether or not they recognize the channel. And
Yeah.
you want people to be able to type in his name and not be like, oh, I have to spell this with an I.
Okay,
It's like
yeah,
no
that
one's
makes
gonna get
sense.
that. I mean, keep this, but at the end, use this less and less and be like, my actual channel is, and put things over there, and hopefully people will gravitate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I'm going to need to do that.
Well, just a little suggestion. If you do decide to do that, I wonder, would Purple Ceratops be a good name?
Okay, it's a suggestion worth considering.
I mean, it combines elements for which you
Yeah.
all are already known.
Yep. And that's kind of it, that, yeah, I need to come up with another name. And I did take months choosing the name
I don't
because,
think you need to come up with another name. Do you know how many Wonder Ladies there are? There's
well, but I
plenty.
mean, for me to start another account on Google, and that's what's going to take. I will need to start a completely new
Well,
account
wait a
with a
minute.
new
No,
channel.
now that I'm thinking of it, is it the case that all you need is a different email? And then you can do whatever you want?
I thought that was the case, but I tried that.
Okay, because I have two Google accounts that are, excuse me, that are registered to Diana Clarion. Well, at least in the name uh, portion, but they are registered to two different emails. One being my personal email, and another one I
Yeah.
set up just for G Suite. So, yeah, I don't know if you have to access by the email, then yeah, you've got a bit of a thing going. But we'll have to try to
Yeah.
find people who know
Well,
and deal
Purple
with
Rhymes
that.
with Orange was actually my third attempt. That Yahoo suspended my channel twice before I ever put up my first piece of content.
Nice guys.
So, never any explanation. And they said it was suspended. They didn't say they deleted it, but they never gave any time limit on the suspension. And here we are 2 years later, and no, those have not been reactivated.
Well, Twitter did that to me actually. My very, very first Twitter, they um, suspended for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, I can't get it back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So,
I need to drop out. I have
yep.
Well,
stuff
we're
and
going to be
things to
dropping out here in a
do.
Okay.
minute
Yeah,
or so.
we're going to be shutting this down here for today.
Oh, you wait.
Yep.
Yep.
Just real.
We will be on tomorrow night. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yep.
Huh,
Oh,
Anyone
okay.
who's up
Okay.
for it.
just real quick, on Christy Abby's channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. I believe she said Eastern. I'll double check. She's going to be premiering the interview that I had with her. Let me pull up her thingy real quick. And that's all I got for plug-in.
Okay, then.
So.
I was considering doing a live stream tomorrow, but that would depend on whether or not the girls would be up for it. I'm having friends over. I'm assuming no, but you never know. But since you're going to be doing something tomorrow, you're going to be doing tomorrow night, you say?
Well, yeah, tomorrow at midnight, the usual thing.
Okay, were I to do something, the sun would still be up. So that might not be too bad. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So don't count on anything.
Yeah. Well, and again, I won't be able to keep it going all night like we've been in the habit of doing, so it'll just be for a couple hours.
Well, people do need their sleep. If you want, I can pick up after you.
Well, I need my sleep, but I never get it, so.
Yeah, I know it's a pain in the butt. Shit. Yeah, I'm looking up here, and this is really, 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 really interesting. When we were talking about the StreamYard, Neil was saying he pays 17 a month Canadian. Oh well, we're gonna have to get out of here.
Yeah. And if I had a bit more coming in, the $20 a month might not seem like such a big deal, but basically, I get through month to month. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going in debt, but I'm not getting ahead.
Yeah, and yeah, my whole thing is, save for the $20. I mean, I get about $30 a month, but I'm unfortunately using some of that to pay medical co-payments, as well as
Yeah.
buying equipment, and
Well,
it's
one
it's,
other
it's really
alternative,
interesting. What?
would be that more and more people are going to doing their streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, okay. I
That,
thought of that, and I'm going to have to
yeah.
give that some. I'm going to have to give that some consideration.
Well, I've heard several people say it's a better platform for streaming. You just can't do edited videos there.
Right.
And that while it's good for streaming, it's lousy for trying to build an audience.
Right. I remember
Because the
Sirius
small
talking
channels
about
get
that.
so buried down at the bottom that nobody sees you if you're not like on there 24 hours a day.
Yeah, you've really got to be good at self-promotion.
Well, and it is primarily aimed at the gamers, so if you're not in there playing the games, people don't get to know your name.
Well, so was Discord, and that's losing its game association, isn't it?
What?
Discord?
Well, yeah,
Discord is just for chatting.
I thought that Discord started as a gaming chatting platform.
But it's not. You don't visually see anything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You can use it to have
Conferences, yeah.
You can put it on YouTube as well, so people can still watch you.
Oh, you
But it
can
doesn't
connect
work
Discord
with.
to YouTube?
You can, but it doesn't run on phones, or at least there's some technical difficulty if you're trying to use a phone.
Oh. Yeah, I think if
Okay,
it doesn't
yeah.
work on mobile devices, that would lose about half the people who watch me.
Yeah.
Because I think about half the people who pay attention to our chats here are using phones or tablets.
I'm going to have to do a survey on my channel and see who's using desktops and who's using phones, and that would be interesting.
I'm using a phone.
Yeah, well, you are, and Doc Fearson, and Jen Morgan are all getting on here on your phones. So I don't know how many of the other people in there that, especially the Thursday night thing, because, we've got several people in the Thursday night thing that are, at work at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just, coming in and out when they're not busy at work and they're on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's it. There's so many considerations, and that's why it makes it very difficult to find an alternate platform.
I understand.
Oh my. Oh well. Yeah, you're really starting to run over, Hans. Well, I mean, it probably doesn't make any difference today, but we might as well set the precedent.
Well, that was the other thing that they were unclear about, is when exactly this went into effect. They didn't give an actual date.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that we're okay through the end of the month. And I'm
That's my
assuming
assumption.
that the time counter probably starts December 1st.
December already.
Yeah, so yeah, that'll be next week's stream will start being part of the time counter.
I get it.
That's my guess at it. They're not very clear about it in the email they sent.
I was better at guessing stock trends than I am about guessing social media trends.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, StreamYards had been better about explaining things. It was one of the reasons I went to them. And, now the communication is at about the same quality as YouTube's.
Okay, which is
and
to
that's
say
a very
none.
disturbing trend for anything I'm using.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, well, we'll see you all later. We'll
Take care,
try to figure
folks.
this out, and
Happy
maybe
Harvest Holiday.
maybe I need to pull my subscribers if we come up with some suggestions for a new name and for me to start over and see how many people I can get to follow me to a new channel.
I think it might be wise. And use a Google account next time. Not Yahoo.
No, I'm on a Gmail account with this.
I know, but it was a reference to the first comment that you made about your Yahoos.
Oh, I think he misspoke.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm being misunderstood, but that's okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
Please don't let
if
me
I
be
if I said Yahoo, I
misunderstood.
probably misspoke it. I probably meant YouTube said Yahoo.
Okay.
But
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to you later then. Have a happy holiday if you have one.
I pretty much expect that if I have to switch channels, I'm going to get at best half of the subscribers I have now to go over, and I'll be starting again from under 100.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, anyway, I will talk to you soon, hon.
Okay.
Well, hopefully we'll be talking, Faye. We don't talk enough anymore. I have to do something about that. Be more available.
I tried.
Okay,
I messaged
well,
you and you never wrote back. Don't
I
fucking give me a hard time. Don't
That's
fucking
why
give me a hard time. I've asked you several times. Are you okay? Blah blah blah. Stuff's going on. You didn't write back. Fuck you. Anyway, I love you very much. But
I have to be more available.
Yeah. Don't.
This is a goodbye for everybody on YouTube as I hit the button here.
Okay, bye.
Take care,
we'll catch
folks.
you all later.
See ya.
Bye.